Got an old school here. This is like probably about old as me. But it's got some old technology on it, nothing modern. What's going on with this? The complaint is the charging system. Charging system not working appropriately, and he did say there was a potential parasitic draw. So I assume that over time the battery obviously it dies, and he say that the alternator is only putting out 12 volts. So normally I don't do stuff like this, but because it's not factory, it's pretty much aftermarket. But it's I'd imagine it's simplistic. Alternator shouldn't require, but it's very particular inputs, and I'd imagine because it's a charging system. I mean, how complex can it be? You know. But the problem is somebody else wired it. So what I need to do, first off, I need to see what the alternator's outputting. I'm not going to use the amp clamp at the moment because I'm just looking at the voltage values. Push come to shove, then yeah, I'll pull out the amp clamp. But I just need to see if it's putting out 14, 13.5 or something over that or around that. And then I can go from there and see what's going on. So let me see what the voltage output is from the alternator. And I might have to pull up the wiring diagram for this alternator, see if we got all the necessary inputs. And because it might just maybe a defective alternator or both a defective alternator and the battery. But as long as we got good, adequate inputs, good battery connections, I don't see what could be the problem. They don't feel hot. I just started up not too long ago. But let's get the multimeter and get to work. Oh, I see rumbling. Let me get this set up. So I'm gonna look for 13.5, 14 volts. And actually this is making 14 right now. One thing I do see, let me show you. That'll do it. So I'm gonna let it play out its efficiency, and once it starts to fail, then I'll start going a little more in depth. But in the meantime, I will check those wires in the back for the inputs and go from there. If I snap the throttle, it wants to fall. So it was at 14 volts, now it's at 13.6. It's still good. Let me keep snapping it and see if I can get it to drop. I honestly think it's the belt. I mean, it's moving pretty, it's got a lot of play in it. Or deflection, however you want to call it. But I think what happens, the belt get hot, the voltage efficiency reduces, and the belt can't turn the alternator at the RPM as it should. So it's going down, it's slow, but it's climbing to the downside. old school test of just disconnecting the battery, see what happens. That still works fine. Well, I got the negative off there. Let's do a parasitic draw test and see how much of a drain the system has on itself. So we need to go through here. Need to be below 50 milliamps. But he did say his battery dies. So we got, right now it's 3 amp, about 4 amps. It's pretty excessive. Things shouldn't have to go to sleep or anything, but I think one of the bigger issues that he got is this is going to be this. So we need to find out where that parasitic draw is coming from. Well, the drain is perfectly fine now. I had the key in the accessory position. I forgot these old school vehicles do that. So this is a abnormal draw here. This is 300 milliamps. We need to find out where the draw is coming from because it needs to be reduced by 250 milliamps. I need to get this in the better spot. One thing I can do, I can pull this battery cable off the positive side and see if it reduces for wherever it pulls power from or provides power to. Let's do that. So that's fine. It's this one. So this goes to a junction block back here. And then it gets distributed out from the back out to these relays. So I'm gonna put these back. So we might just have like one of these relays shot here. Just gonna backtrack this way. All right, let's go to the relays. Goes from there down here to this junction here. This looks like a circuit breaker. That's what this looks like. Let me pull this relay. Nope, that relay doesn't. It's not that. No, it just goes to these two. But this relay is connected to this breaker. Nope. Let me break off these screws here, these bolts, and see if it gets reduced. Take this power source off here. so nothing happened. This is a 3/8 or 9mm. I feel like 10 barely fits on here. Let's grab this one. Goes up this one next. So this should reduce it, yeah. So this one right here, if I take the power source off of this one, it gets reduced. But how much though? Yeah, it's loaded. Yeah. So wherever this one's going, this is going to take us to our problem. So I'm going to follow this wire. Goes across the frame. Over into the cab, it seems, over the radiator support. All right, so let's follow that. So that goes through here. All right, so here's the other end where the wire is going, and it comes down. Here's a, I don't know if you can see that. If you pull down, there's a junction here. Splits off. It goes to the horn. Some of the accessories. Now that red wire, that's what I need to find. So it goes to the horn. I keep getting all these phone calls. But I need to find that red wire. I wonder if that red wire goes to the alternator. I wonder if it goes here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull off that alternator wire because I don't want to get mixed up with any other wires but that red wire. I just keep getting phone calls. I forgot where I left off, but the red wire is where I'm following. I'm not following anything else, but it seems like it's going straight to the alternator. So I'm gonna pull this off, and I could just do a continuity test and see if they're correlated, but it's just as quick to pull them off and see what happens. So it looked like a 10mm. Damn it, I burnt myself on that radiator. All right, nothing changed. Putting that back. I'm gonna find another red wire. Damn, it's hot. So it's not that. I need to find the other red wire that this goes to. Pull this off and see if it changes anything. I'll admit this is wired up extremely well. They did a great job. It's crazy. We still got a draw. I pulled this off, so I don't need to go into the cab because we still have a 300 milliamp draw. Am I overlooking something? Because I'm like, if that wire here is coming out, going to the electrical load or wherever it is, then I'd imagine that's what's draining the battery. Power goes from here to here, out to here, through this, and out through here. Prove that this wire isn't live. This is what's going directly to the alternator. So we got 12. This logically should eliminate if there's 12 volts on here and it's not. So let's just see. Let's go the other way. Let's just see if it's grounded out. No. That's interesting. All right. Let me see. I need to do a test to see if there's any correlation with ground. Take my lead here. Yeah, so we have 41 ohms. 41 ohms going to ground. There shouldn't be a load or anything, but my thing is I took that lead off though of the alternator, and it, let me see something else. Let me do this. I'm gonna pull. My thing is, like, is the alternator shorted? I mean, I expect it to be something, but I don't. There shouldn't be like a load on the system. I'm gonna pull it off again and see what happened. There's no voltage going through this. It's not live. Ouch! I burnt myself on the radiator again. So when I pull it off again, let's see what the value is. Pull that off, and let's see. Yep, I got a value, and there's nothing hooked up. Look at that. There's nothing hooked up. So it's got like a short to ground somewhere. And these two should just be one wire going from here all the way. Oh shoot. Going all the way through this loom to this point here, because we did a resistance test, and oh shoot, wrong one. And look, 0.4 ohms. So this is bleeding into a ground circuit somewhere. And that's what I need to find out. Where's it bleeding into? Because this wire is totally isolated now. Hell, even then, you know, I try to see if it would support a load, but it's not strong enough to support a load. So we tried that. Oh wait, it is. Look at that. Look at that. It is. It just did. You saw the light come on, right? I'm not tripping. Let me see if I can get it to do it again. Let me move some wires around. It literally supported a load. I know I got that on camera. Let me move these wires around. There you go. Wait, I think, did I accidentally touch that? Is that why I did it? But it was so faint though. Maybe I know I didn't. Hold on here. I know I'm not crazy. There's our ohms. Yeah, it did actually illuminate. Are you serious? So it's not going to show a load now. Well, because I don't have it hooked up. Let me hook this back up. Okay, there's our load. Am I tripping? There we go. There we go. It did it. Look at that. Look at that. Bam. Look at that. Look at that. So there's ground somewhere. Let me move this wire around. Now you believe me. I'm not crazy. I gotta get this to hold itself. I know what I saw. Let me move these wires around. Let's see what happens. Oh, got it. Got it. I found your ass too. Got you. Look at this. I didn't like the way this looked, but I can tell you, move this around. Look at that. Bam. Watch this. Look at that. There's our problem. Just gotta cut this open. Oh wait. I think I jumped the gun. No. Nope. I jumped the gun. Sorry. I was wrong. I could put the oscilloscope to it and see if the values change. I got a couple options, but this test light should do its job though. I'm about to pull all this stuff out. So this is what's going on. The test light got me as far as I'm gonna get now. Well, I need something that's a little bit more fine-tuned so I can see those incremental movements. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hook up my fluke, put it on ohms. We had a value of 41 ohms. So when I start moving wires around, I should be able to see a more minute change in values, and that'll let me know if I'm close to where I need to be. So that's the route I'm gonna take. All right, after screwing around, I found the problem. So what happened, one of these wires, not this one, the wires on the alternator, he tied in. So he tied that in to the alternator, and that's what's constantly putting the draw on the system. Let me go here. Let me get this long pin back up. It's gonna look a mess because I got so many things here. Am I hooked up properly? Oh. So that's that. I need to put the drain on there. So this was the drain. So there's our drain. Everything's hooked up. I'll remove this. Then our load is gone. So this is hooked up improperly. So this needs to be put on a relay system. Essentially, when there's a hot one on, then that should power up that alternator. So I called the customer, let them know what we got going on. The plan, only thing I need is a hot one on source. I can figure out the rest. I just don't want to be invasive and pull into any of these other wires here, and I don't have to. So I don't know if there's a junction where there's a hot one on source, but I think there may be something back here, or maybe tied into one of these. I just need something to say on, off, and I need like a good ground or a good source of power when the ignition switch is on. So, and I can work a relay out around that based off of what I get. And I'm just going to put like a conventional relay that's just pretty much going to say, okay, power, and then I'll send power to that wire over there. And hopefully I can put like a relay box here somewhere. I'm hoping one of these wires right here will be what I need to tie into, and we can go from there. Maybe one of these will be great. I'll find out. Let me do some messing around, and I'm gonna show you the end result, and I'm gonna get this thing fixed so this man can drive his truck and not have to worry about shit. All right, quick update. I'll admit I was wrong on something, and on all fairness, I don't have a wiring diagram for this, so I'm gonna tell you this: what happened. The most simplest thing, the alternator was hooked up wrong. That's it. But I don't know if it's going to work yet. But let me show you. So these were crossed up and in the wrong location, exciting, I guess partially grounding the hot wire, and being it was hooked up improperly. You need to go the other way. Now I don't know if the alternator works. Oh shoot! I hope I ain't blow a fuse. I'm gonna have to, let me start up and see if the alternator works like it's supposed to. Let's see what we got. We got 14 volts. She's working right like she's supposed to. What I'm gonna do in the meantime also, I'm gonna tighten that battery. I said a battery. I'm gonna tighten that alternator up. And I'm kind of scared to touch it because it just doesn't have a washer, but I might have to put a washer in there. Let me see what I can do. Got the belt tight. It's a lot better than what it was. And I'll say the alternator voltage is a lot more stable than it was before. It looks a lot better. I think we're fixed, man. I'm gonna give it 10 minutes, come back to it. All right, it's been about 15 minutes, and the voltage did drop to about 13, 15 or something like that. But I'm gonna say it's still good because it's over 12.6. Now, what's wrong? I noticed that the fan switch, that seems to be defective. The fans do have an abnormally large draw on the charging system, or just the requirements to operate. Now, I would recommend that he change it to a higher temperature, because, or just get a new one. Because as soon as I cut the truck on, the truck ain't been running for about 3 minutes, and the fans are already kicking on and staying on. So they're not cycling like they're supposed to. And that'll definitely help with the charging system. So I'm gonna recommend that he get a new fan switch, and he should be fine. I think the bulk of our problems are resolved because that abnormal drain that was there, because the alternator wires were hooked up improperly. So that answers a lot. That's fixed. And I think the other aspect of delinquent charging would be to get that fan switch replaced to a good one, to where it wouldn't come on so prematurely. The battery voltage is great. I mean, it's over 12.6, and it's going to come down from a state of charge from 13 volts down to 12.6. So this battery's fine. I'm not worried about the battery. I'm not worried about anything, because I know for a fact all his issues are resolved now, because we found the drain. That was the problem. These two wires were hooked up improperly. I just put some marks there, so you know they'll be with their corresponding location. And I think we're good, man. This is nothing complex, nothing electrical major like any other vehicle. This is just as basic as you're gonna get. It ain't got no heat in this car neither. Be interesting if you had like a basic heater core in there. It'd be kind of cool. You can drive it during the winter. Cool. I'm gonna let them know, man. But I know this is fixed. We went from a 300 milliamp draw to 0. This doesn't have any computer systems or anything on it, but I'm thinking about the regular computer modern vehicles where they have to have a 50 milliamp draw. This doesn't have anything. This is just a carburetor lawnmower, a big lawnmower. That's what I would call it. So 300 milliamp down to 0. That's fixed due to the fact that those wires are crossed up. I don't have to do anything major. My diagnostic process is complete. Like I said, I recommend that fan switch, and we're good, man. But if anything happened, I'll definitely update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, and have that reassurance from work. See you next one.